Warning: viewers' discretion is advised as this may contain mature or triggering content. Title: Loving Who, Part 5. Vince and Amy went back to work on Monday, and Tyler did his best to act like nothing was wrong, though he no longer hung closely around Amy. The others took note of it, but brushed it off as him having made sure their newest top product was released on time. No one thought it was strange in the slightest. A few weeks had gone by, and Amy finally started to relax within the company again. She and Vince both dove into new projects, while Amy also made sure things were going well with hers. The sales were still praiseworthy, even still getting donations without actual purchases. Amy made sure to stay on top of her health as much as she could. However, she was still having strange dreams of a time she had shared with Tyler. It bothered her, because it always looped back to her death. Her dreams would always show her one or two great things with Tyler before ending with her death. It was certainly weighing on her ability to sleep. A yawn took over her as she walked, heading to the modeling department to arrange another commercial for her product. She had only just walked into the room when a hand grabbed her. "Why, hello, beautiful." Richard's voice raked along her nerves, and she ripped her hand away. "What do you want, Richard?" He held a wicked grin. "Oh, nothing. I was just saying hello." "You can do so without touching me." Richard leaned over, his mouth inches away. "But I thought you liked playing with others. I mean, if that kiss—" Amy jerked backwards, but her hand flew up to cover Richard's mouth before he could finish his words. Her gaze was a steady glare, but she flinched when his tongue slid across her palm. She ripped her hand away, shaking it as if to shake off his germs. "Cute," he muttered. "Shall we go have a more personal chat later? Unless you want me to tell everyone." Amy glanced around. Thankfully, everyone was busy. Not only was her product being handled, but another one had been finished for a company they were partnered with. "Rooftop. Around 3. Don't be late. Or else," Richard demanded, without bothering to ask if she was fine with that. Amy wanted to slap Richard. How had he even known about the kiss? Had he actually seen it? Had anyone else seen it? Were they keeping silent because it was with the big boss? Her body trembled before someone called her name, asking her if she was ready to watch the idea for the commercial. If he had known about it this long, why hadn't he said anything until now? Richard passed her, heading out the door with a satisfied smirk. Why were these men like this? What did she even do? It wasn't like she wore flashy clothes that showed her figure, nor did she wear over-the-top makeup. There were far prettier women in this building than her. Some she even found herself being jealous of. So why her? Not once had she ever fantasized about having her own little harem, despite having read a few reverse harem webtoons in her teen years. Vince was all she needed. All she wanted. She didn't want him to worry, but he already started to notice her sleepless nights. Lying to him about it just being the excitement from her product flourishing didn't work anymore. He knew something was off, but she just couldn't bring herself to tell him. She was dreaming about Tyler. How could she even begin to explain that she felt nothing for the man, yet her dreams kept spewing lies of love and affection for him? It was driving her to the edge. They hadn't been happening every night anymore, but they were still there. She was sure Vince would think it had something to do with the kiss. He'd probably fear she was starting to feel something for Tyler. And now Richard was scheming something? Could she handle this? A few hours later. 3 rolled around before she knew it, and she hadn't gotten the chance to tell Vince. She wanted him there as backup, in case Richard was twisted enough to try something. She figured he'd try to blackmail her somehow, ask her out on a date, or worse, make her come to his place if she didn't want the entire building finding out about the kiss she shared with Tyler. Either way, she already knew it wouldn't end well. He'd probably try and threaten her with Vince as well. Thankfully, they didn't hide anything. She'd straight up tell Richard that. She opened the door and didn't see anyone there, her heart fluttering at the thought he might have decided against the meetup. She shut the door, heading for the edge of the building. It was the spot she went to every time. It had the best view, and there was always a breeze. However, it was now linked to a dream with Tyler. She paused, before deviating to the other side. She didn't want to lose this job, not now, but there was so much going wrong, and she wasn't sure why fate seemed pitted against her. She leaned against the railing, staring out towards the parking lot. A few people were getting off early, it seemed. She thought about trying to call Vince up before Richard possibly arrived, but she knew he was busy. Would it be right to bother him? Especially when she'd talked about keeping her personal life and work separate, on top of saying how she could protect herself. She shivered slightly. She had learned how to defend herself, sure, but it seemed doing so in person was different. Amy pulled her phone from her pocket, staring at the time. 3:15. He was late for a meeting he demanded. Her stomach churned before she turned. Screw this. She stormed for the door. How dare he threaten her and then not show up? She opened the door, turning to look out once more, but saw no one, and shut it. Arms circled around her, making her yelp, and Richard's voice crept into her ear, making her shiver. "Where do you think you're going?" His arms were wrapped firmly across her sides, with his hands interlocked in front of her stomach. She tried to move, but his grip only tightened, and painfully so. I wouldn't try to run, just because I was a little late." "Let go," Amy growled, but he somehow managed to press himself more firmly against her back. "Now, why would I do a thing like that? You are supposed to be mine. So just ditch Vince and accept it." Amy's body trembled from anger. "I said, let go." She stomped her heel into his foot, making him hiss, but it earned her freedom, as he did a small, awkward, hobbling step backwards. She sprang to action, darting for the stairs, but it seemed Richard was used to getting his feet stomped on, because he was right behind her. She should have figured. He was nothing but a playboy, after all. She was almost the next flight of stairs when he snatched her wrist. Amy hadn't expected him to be this strong. He harshly ripped her backwards. She shut her eyes as her back roughly hit the wall, and she expected her head to be next. That wasn't the case. She heard a hiss of pain escape Richard as his hand cupped her head. It still sort of felt like whiplash from a car accident, his hand only providing a bit of cushion between her head and the concrete wall. When she opened her eyes, she found herself pinned to the wall, Richard's knees shoved between her legs, just to help stop her from moving. Now, where were we? Yes. I was telling you to leave Vince and to come to me. We are destined to be together. He took his hand out from between her head and the wall to cup her chin. Never. Richard chuckled. You know, he won't stay with you when I tell him about how I saw Tyler and you share a rather passionate kiss. A bit of a lie, but hey, a kiss is a kiss. Amy smirked. Joke's on you. Vince already knows, you twisted bastard. If that's all you have, then let me go. Richard's smirk echoed hers now, but it sent chills down her spine. All I have? Of course not, my lovely sparrow. I got it recorded and photographed. Just imagine the photo, accidentally, finding its way all over the walls of this place. You wouldn't. That not only hurt me, but also Tyler, especially since it was an accident. Was it? Is that what he claimed? Did he tell you he mistook you for his lover? Amy glared at Richard. Hate to break it to you, Amy, but he has never had a lover. The words bothered Amy so much more. But why? Not in this lifetime, at least. But Richard's eyes were cold as they stared at her, as if he was staring at her, yet not really her. It only stirred up her confusion. What did he mean, not in this lifetime? The memories of Tyler and her together surfaced again. At least now they no longer caused her a headache. Richard's eyes watched the dawning in Amy. Oh? Are you remembering things, just like me? Then you must know we are meant to be together. His grip was far more painful. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go, Richard. If you don't, you'll regret this. Her words only made him scoff, instead of talking more. The grip on her chin changed, gripping her head upward with such force it made her dizzy. There are too many things getting in our way, my sparrow. Shall I get rid of them this time around? Or perhaps... Yes, I could seek that man's help. Then I wouldn't need to get my hands dirty. Richard's words bothered her. Get who? And who was he planning to get rid of? She shivered. Had Richard always been this insane? Surely if he had, Tyler would have fired him already, right? She didn't get to think more about it as Richard's lips crashed into hers, making her gasp in surprise, and he took advantage of it. His tongue dipped into her mouth, intending to explore as he let out a moan. Pain began to stab into her mind once more. This time it was worse. She tried punching at Richard, but he didn't budge. She felt like she was going to vomit. Her mind reeled as his tongue sought deeper access. Then it dawned on her. Bite. She didn't hesitate. She chomped down on his tongue, making him rip away from her as she tasted blood. She wasn't sure how much damage she'd just done, but she began to spit his nasty saliva and blood out of her mouth. Richard was busy covering his mouth, screaming or gurgling. She didn't know. She didn't hear anything properly. There was a sharp ringing in her ears as she stumbled down the stairs. She didn't know if Richard was following her. She didn't care who she ran into. Anyone would do, as long as it wasn't Richard. Her body trembled as the pain in her head increased. The same thing was happening. She was seeing blurred visions of her and Richard. Ugh. Her knees gave under her, and she hit the floor hard, gagging. The lunch she'd eaten expelled itself from her, making her heave and cry all at once. She felt so embarrassed and out of place right now. You okay? She couldn't look up as she heard someone speaking to her. Amy! Her eyes were losing focus. Sorry. Tyler gripped her shoulders as she swayed. Amy! Hang on! Amy? Shit. He pulled his phone out. I need an ambulance sent to Alvco's main building. This is the CEO, Tyler Malco. Please use the back entrance. Hurry. I'll meet you there. He didn't wait for them to respond. There were perks to being rich, after all. Tyler didn't know what was going on. Blood coated Amy's front and mouth. His mind filled with the worst possible thoughts, that she was ill and it was terminal. That was his instant thought. Had Vince known? Surely he had. It had been made very clear that Amy and Vince told each other everything. Shit. He lifted Amy up. Her body was starting to feel feverish. It reminded him of the first time she had collapsed in front of him. He had to get Vince. Just hang on. His body shook with worry. He hadn't noticed Richard stopping as he left, still holding his mouth, glaring at the two of them. Tyler had gotten Henry to pull Vince from work, the man rushing to their side as they loaded Amy into the ambulance. They were frantically looking for wounds, asking Vince if she had some sort of health problem. Much to Tyler's surprise, Vince told them no, that she was healthy besides the occasional overworking. Tyler wanted to go with them, but he had to settle the others down. They had gathered outside, worried about Amy. He ushered them back inside, glancing as the van took off, sirens blaring. "Please be okay, Amy," he muttered. To be continued. Hey guys, yeah, I know it's been a bit. I have had a lot of problems. First, my AC and heater unit went down, and we had to have the windows open, so I couldn't record. That it would have been awful because I don't have a soundproof room. It'd be nice at this current point, but I don't. So I had to wait for that to get fixed. And then I got a chance to do the recording, and I got it edited, and I went to work on putting the video together, and my app that I was using decided, oh, well, we're gonna update and then make you have to pay for it all over again. So I did a whole 2 to 3 day search for a new video maker, and I think I finally found one. So once again, my setup is going to change slightly. Hope you don't mind. But yeah, sorry for the delays. I hope you are still enjoying the story because I know I am. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!